Those little bumps you had on your face kind of alarmed me. You wouldn't be happy to taking PEDs, are you?
Listen, if you want to build in excuses right now,
no, I'm just asking.
Go ahead.
Cause I was just wondering. I looked
ahead.
at your face. It looked kind of serious. You had some rage and you acting all unorthodox. You know, those are signs of the PEDs.
I'm gonna do a cycle of steroids to show people what Jake Paul on steroids actually looks like.
Fair.
Is Jake Paul natural? No. I can say that with pretty certain confidence in that statement, mainly because, as you heard me mention, I know a lot of the people he trains with, and I have heard things.
The narrative around Jake Paul has always thrived on the spectacular, but the latest twist feels ripped from a high-stakes legal thriller. The bombshell isn't about a press conference stunt or a social media feud. It's about the very foundation of his rapid ascent, his physical transformation. Now, that foundation is facing a seismic legal challenge, with a massive lawsuit over alleged steroid use threatening to overshadow everything. Think about the story we've all watched unfold. A charismatic internet star steps into the ring and, in what feels like a blink, morphs into a chiseled, concussive puncher. The knockouts piled up. The muscle mass expanded. For fans, it was a stunning evolution. For critics, it was a timeline that defied natural athletic development. The whispers started in the comment sections, then moved to boxing forums, and finally, they found their way into the mouths of seasoned trainers and retired champions pointing at the tape, their skepticism turning into public accusations. What was once locker room gossip and social media speculation has crystallized into something far more dangerous, a legal complaint. Leaked, grainy clips of training sessions are being dissected not for fight strategy, but for potential tells. Medical experts are being cited. The language has shifted from doubt to allegation, from how is he doing this, to this is how he did it. For Paul, this is no longer just a public relations battle to be won with a charismatic tweet or a fiery promo. This is a ticking clock. A courtroom is a very different arena, one where swagger counts for little, and evidence is everything. A loss here wouldn't just be a blemish on his record. It could unravel the entire problem child persona built on defiance and self-made success. It could mean suspensions, crippling financial penalties, and a permanent asterisk next to every victory on his record. The ultimate irony is brutal. Jake Paul built his boxing legacy by challenging the establishment and claiming he was proving everyone wrong. Now, the establishment is fighting back with subpoenas and lab reports. The man who wanted to shock the world in the ring now finds himself preparing for a different kind of fight, one where the punches are legal documents and the judge wears a robe. The bell on this round has already rung, and there's no referee to save him.
Are you taking PEDs?
No, sir.
Not at all. Okay.
No, sir.
That's
you think
what
he's on
feel like.
PEDs?
I don't care. You better.
The transformation wasn't just impressive, it was jarring. It felt less like an athlete's journey and more like a software update. One day, Jake Paul was a lanky, viral provocateur with fast hands and a loud mouth. Then, almost overnight, a different man seemed to step into the ring. His shoulders broadened into slabs of granite. Punches that once stung now carried a frightening, concussive thud. His endurance, which used to fade in later rounds, now seemed bottomless. Even the shape of his face hardened, the jawline squaring off with a new, intimidating density. This wasn't the slow, grinding progress etched into the bodies of lifelong fighters, the kind built over thousands of sparring rounds and decade-long weight programs. This was a sudden explosion, a leap in power, physique, and raw aggression so sharp and definitive it didn't just turn heads, it raised alarms. In gyms and locker rooms, veterans who had spent their lives understanding the painstaking pace of physical development exchanged wary glances. The whispers started, low and serious, hold on, something's off here. It was as if he'd discovered a cheat code the rest of the sport had sworn never to use. His evolution sliced through the usual narrative of hard work, making the internet's fascination curdle into a global side-eye. The question stopped being how good can he get, and became far more pointed. How, exactly, did he get here so fast? That question, once just a murmur of suspicion, is now the loud, legal storm threatening to engulf his entire career.
The guy on steroids is blatantly going to exhibit some sort of actual physical representation of steroid use, like a traditional, roid monkey look. You're gonna have like more muscle mass.
The clues weren't hidden. They were broadcast in high definition on his own skin, in the very architecture of his rapidly changing body. Observers didn't just see a fighter getting in shape, they witnessed a biological overhaul. His shoulders didn't just tone, they widened, reshaping his silhouette into a more formidable wedge. Thick, rope-like veins began to map his arms and torso with a new, pronounced prominence. Across his back and jaw, stubborn, cystic acne fled, a common, telltale side effect of hormonal chaos. Inside the ring, the changes were even more visceral. His punches gained a disturbing, heavier sound, the impact on pads shifting from a snap to a thud. Alongside the physical transformation came a wilder, more volatile temperament, a hair-trigger aggression that seemed fueled by something more than competitive fire. This wasn't a collection of fan theories spun from jealousy. It was a pattern noted by the sports world at large. Major outlets like Give Me Sport and Yahoo published analyses, their headlines carefully worded but clear, describing his metamorphosis as consistent with or raising questions about performance-enhancing influence. The whispers that had long circulated in boxing gyms and green rooms, the knowing glances between trainers, the hushed conversations after his knockouts, were finally finding a microphone. The tipping point came when medical professionals began to speak on the record. They pointed to the specific, clinical hallmarks, the rapid, disproportionate muscular expansion, the pronounced jawbone thickening known as roid jaw, the severe adult acne. These, they clarified, were not proof, but they were recognizable patterns, a constellation of symptoms familiar to endocrinologists and sports physicians. That shift is critical. When the discussion moves from comment section speculation to doctors identifying diagnostic patterns, the ground fundamentally changes. Rumors gain the weight of professional observation. What was once dismissed as envy or hate now carries the cold, factual language of physiology. It transforms the conversation from "people are saying" to "experts are noting." And in that transformation, the foundation for serious, legitimate questioning, the kind that leads to lawsuits, not just social media debates, becomes undeniably, perilously solid. The court of public opinion was one thing. Paul now faces the much sterner gaze of professional and legal scrutiny.
I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids. So I want to randomly steroid test you for the next 2 years.
You're right. In boxing, a physique isn't just for show. It's a direct ledger of power, durability, and the brutal economy of force. And by that metric, Jake Paul's body wasn't just improving. It was undergoing a hyperinflation, printing currency at a rate that defied the natural market. While other fighters spend a decade in the grueling mint of the gym, his transformation happened in a fiscal quarter. In a sport built on the slow, honest grind, that kind of explosive gain doesn't just raise eyebrows. It raises red flags that look an awful lot like evidence in waiting. This is where the story crosses from sports gossip into perilous legal waters. Persistent questions, when backed by the observations of medical professionals and a pattern of physical markers, don't just fade away. They have a way of evolving. Questions become investigations. Investigations become depositions. And depositions become lawsuits. The most telling sign that Paul feels this pressure isn't found in a lab report, but in his own reaction. He hasn't shrugged off the whispers. Instead, he's met them with a fighter's hostility, but a lawyer's vocabulary. In a revealing interview, he didn't just deny the allegations, he issued a threat. He stated that anyone publicly accusing him of steroid use should be ready for lawsuits if they can't prove it. This is a critical pivot. It's the language of litigation, not locker room banter. When a boxer's first instinct is to reach for a legal threat instead of a heavier punching bag, it reveals where his mind is already training. It suggests a man who is no longer just preparing for an opponent in the ring, but for adversaries in a courtroom. He's bracing for a different kind of fight, one fought with subpoenas and affidavits, where a different set of rules applies. And the knockout blow is a judgment. The defensive posture, the preemptive legal warning, it all hints that the pressure isn't just sinking in, it's already shaping his strategy for a battle far beyond the ropes.
To tell people that you're not on steroids where you're just on steroids, because they'll get a legal TRT prescription from the doctor. Their dealer fills in the rest. Normally they're on TRT, but they go through multiple month phases during the year where they go on super physiological doses.
The steroid narrative didn't just come from online speculation, though it emerged from fighters who understand how long it takes to build real power. Professionals who have trained their entire lives watched Jake Paul's rapid evolution and immediately sensed something beyond natural progression. Dylan Dennis, a close affiliate of Conor McGregor, even amplified suspicion by highlighting Jake's sudden acne flare-ups, sparking media platforms like the Express Tribune to circulate the accusation. And even Jake himself has acknowledged these allegations publicly, saying the internet always jumps to two conclusions: rigged fights or steroids. The fact that he hears it, reacts to it, and feels the need to respond shows that these claims are not noise to him. They are pressure on his back every single day.
They grow as athletes as they accumulate more muscle mass, generally with training age.
And also steroids.
That was precisely the moment the ground shifted. When the whispers moved from Reddit threads to the mouths of seasoned fighters, athletes who have spent decades understanding the slow, painful currency of physical development, the allegation stopped being gossip. It gained the heavy cloak of industry concern. A fellow professional's skepticism carries a different kind of weight. It's an indictment from the jury of his supposed peers. Once that door was opened, a pattern began to solidify in the public eye. Experts, trainers, retired fighters, and eventually medical professionals started connecting the dots between a specific triad: rapid physical changes, volatile aggression spikes, and accelerated muscle growth that defied natural timelines. In their analysis, these weren't just coincidences. They were recognized indicators, a constellation of symptoms pointing toward performance enhancement. This is where the real danger lies, far beyond bad press. This pattern forms the bedrock for serious legal consequences. It's the foundation upon which lawsuits are built. Unfair advantage claims. Did he defraud opponents, promoters, and fans by competing under artificially enhanced conditions? Health risk accusations. Did he create an unsafe, fraudulent environment for his opponents by concealing potentially dangerous physical advantages? Breach of sports conduct. Did he violate the fundamental covenant of fair competition? In this arena, opinion becomes expert testimony. Testimony becomes documented evidence. And evidence is the first, irrevocable step onto a courtroom floor. Amidst this, Jake Paul's own defense adds a fascinating, contradictory layer. He has publicly mentioned undergoing routine blood panel testing every few months, citing gut issues and gluten sensitivity. While he frames this as proactive health maintenance, critics hear a different story. In the high-stakes world of elite athletics, such frequent and precise biomarker monitoring is notoriously common among those navigating the fine edges of enhancement protocols, tracking hormone levels, liver enzymes, and recovery markers to stay within undetectable thresholds or manage cycles. It paints a curious portrait, a man whose explosive physique is under global scrutiny, yet who maintains a meticulously documented, almost clinical, log of his internal chemistry. It's the detail that doesn't exonerate or condemn, but deepens the mystery. It suggests a profound awareness of his own biology, turning his body into both the subject of and a carefully tracked dataset, a duality that only fuels the very speculation he seeks to end.
So people think I do steroids and all this shit. So I have a plan because I think it's fucking bizarre. That's like the only excuse they can come up with is like rigged fights. Jake Paul does steroids.